Hello, well, Scott Picken here, and it's time for another weekly Wealth Insight. Now, for me, I'm doing this from my beautiful home here in Teeson Island in Knysna because I really today want to talk about the difference between scarcity and abundance. You know, I had my birthday last week, and I shared with a lot of people the why and how important it was when you get to the top of the mountain. I was having drinks with some friends, and someone was telling me about the scarcity and the environment that they were brought up in, and how their parents consistently told them they never had enough money, and that they couldn't do things because they didn't have money, and that they couldn't go to university because they didn't have money. And it really made me think that this week I wanted to share with you, it's such a fundamental shift in mindset. And the beauty is that no one can take it away from you. No one can give it to you. You need to make that decision yourself. And the decision of the wealthy is that they come from an abundance mindset, and the decision of the 99% is that they come from a scarcity mindset. And the best way to describe this is to give you some personal examples. So I did my undergrad degree at UCT. I went over to London, and I've always been fascinated by technology. In 1998, I did my dissertation in how technology was going to revolutionize the property and construction industry. And then I was in London, and I really wanted to do my master's. And I found this course, and I went along to them, and it had already started 3 weeks earlier, and they basically said you can't get in, and I'm not very good at the word no. So I persuaded them to let me into the course. Now, I'll never forget the numbers at the time. It was $2,000 if you were a British student, but I wasn't British, and therefore it was $7,000, pounds actually, £7,000. And I remember phoning my parents. For those of you who know London, I was on the Queen Mary on a boat, and I phoned my parents, and I was all excited. I'd got in, but I needed £7,000. And you must understand, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I put myself through undergrad, university, and now I'm in London with my master's and got very little money. Still trying to pay off my student loan, if I remember rightly. And I remember talking to my mom, and my mom said, well, it's awesome, son, but pity we don't have the money. But my father was very different. My father said, go for it, sign up, we'll make a plan. Which was amazing because he had no money, but he had an abundance mindset. And although he didn't do a huge amount to help me do it, he gave me the self-belief to make it happen. And I actually ended up getting 2 bursaries to do my master's, and ended up getting paid £14,000 to do my master's. So that's my first story of abundance mindset, going out there and making stuff happen. The second story for me was my job. I've got very lofty, aggressive goals on what I want to do in terms of creating for my own personal wealth. And I was only an employee for 5 years, but within 5 years, I doubled my salary 5 times. And, a lot of people would come from a scarcity place and say, oh, I need to sit in one job, or I don't like it, or, my boss must give me more money, or, the government, or this or that. I took complete control of my destiny. I figured out how to add more value to the company. And then I consistently went to my boss, and I showed them the value I'd added and asked for a pay rise. And as I said, I doubled my salary 5 times in 5 years, which is quite significant. Abundance mindset. The third way is that I did my first property project when I was 13. I did my first development when I was 19, although we didn't have proper planning permission. It was more of a student thing. But we did our first proper project when we were 22. And my whole life, I've never once bought a property on my own. Because people that come from a scarcity mindset would say, oh, but I'm losing stuff if I'm investing with someone else. My philosophy is I'm gaining something. I would much rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. And so by partnering with people and adding value to them, I was then able to get access to real estate opportunities and to grow my portfolio a lot quicker. And that very much is an abundance mindset. And I think there needs to be another whole lesson just on how we did that financing with that abundance mindset. The fourth one for me really was when I wanted to start my own company. Everyone's terrified when they start their own company. How are they going to do it? What happens if they don't have enough money? What happens if they don't have enough resources? What happens if they go bankrupt? Well, I built the company on Zig Ziglar's principle. You can have anything in life that you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And I think really that's why I idolize this man, Richard Branson, so much. And you can see I've got a personal signed copy of his book here. Because he's literally built every company that Virgin has, over 400 companies, based on solving people's problems. It's a classic example. If you help enough other people get what they want, you can have anything you want in your life. It's such a beautiful metaphor for abundance. The fifth one for me was ultimately, hiring people. I learned this from Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins talks about how people with scarcity will go down to the laundromat, they will clean their clothes, they'll spend 2 hours there waiting, obviously in first world countries, waiting for things to be done. People even in South Africa will choose to drill holes in the wall and hang pictures because it's cheaper than hiring a handyman. Maybe a virtual assistant or an accountant or maybe even a really critical resource within your company. And scarcity mindset people consistently tell themselves that they don't have enough money to do it. And so they do the task themselves, but they don't realize the opportunity cost that it's costing them. And I just had an example just this week again within my company where there's a great website called Elance. You can go and ask for any resource in the world. And not only are they better trained and better skilled than you are, they can do it a lot quicker, which means that with your time, you can be much more productive, even if that's just resting with your family or reading a good book. But, I learned this, and I learned this the hard way over and over again. Every single time I get an incredible person in the company, it helps the company go to another level. It helps me go to another level from a productivity perspective. And every single time I go in with scarcity thinking, I can't afford that. We just had that a year ago with our CFO. I can't get the best CFO that I possibly can get. And now, less than a year later, I don't know how we ever survived without a quality CFO. And I think it's a classic example of scarcity versus abundance. Always figure out what you want and then work backwards. And the sixth one, and the one that I really feel very strongly about, is this beautiful house. Look at this beautiful location. And this is where I choose to live, basically. And I read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I highly, highly recommend it. In 2012, I'd lived in London for 9 years. I'd lived in Johannesburg for 3.5 years. I was chasing money, and my logic was I had to be in the place where money was. Very much a scarcity mindset. And then I read that book, and it was about abundance and the fact that, why do people work their whole life so that they can make some money to go retire on the beach? Why don't they just go and retire on the beach? And so, for me, coming live here from Teeson Island, Knysna, you can see my boat behind me. They're literally on the water. We chose to live this lifestyle. In 2012, I absolutely love boating. We were on the water, and we decided that this is where we wanted to live. And my wife and I made it happen. We literally did what it took to live in this abundance lifestyle. And today, we'll go out on the boat. We'll take my son to the beach. We'll literally go surfing later this afternoon. I've been for a beautiful run this morning. And really they people in life live in scarcity, saying, one day I want to retire to the beach. One day I want to have a nice house. One day I want to have a boat. But they don't have to. Change the mindset. Have the abundance mindset of the wealthy, and you truly can have anything you want in life. And the number one lesson that I would teach you is that principle of Zig Ziglar. You can have anything that you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so I want to leave you with one last tip. This guy, Peter Diamandis, who is a new person that I'm working very closely with, he wrote a book called Abundance. This book, Bold, is his latest book that has come out. And if you truly want to understand abundance, if you truly want to understand the mindset of abundance, if you truly want to understand the amazing opportunities that exist for us on this planet within the abundance realm, I highly, highly recommend that you read this book, Bold, by Peter Diamandis. And I leave you with one thought. You can see behind me on the hill there that there's a squatter camp. In Africa, we have some of the greatest challenges. On this planet, we have some of the greatest challenges. And for people with scarcity, that gives them pain. People with abundance, they see that as an opportunity. Because the greater the challenge, the greater the opportunity. The greater the challenge, the greater someone with an abundance mindset can not only make a massive difference to the planet, but can get economically very wealthy in the process as well. Change your mindset, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a bit longer for a wealth insight, but it's an important one. Scarcity versus abundance. Wealthy people have an abundance mindset. Cheers. One last little tip that I just want to add there. If you've been enjoying these wealth insights, please share them with your friends. If you've got a truly abundant mindset, then share it with them. Because the bottom line is, the more we share, the more we actually co-create, the more we empower other people, the better off your life will be. And so I really ask you to go out there and share it. If this is the first time you've seen this, well, subscribe to the channel. We'll be bringing you these wealth insights every single week, along with interviewing some of the billionaires and highly, highly successful and wealthy people that I get to share my time with, and you can get their insights too. This for me is all about abundance. I want to share what I've had the privilege of learning. And from the gratitude of my heart, I want to make sure that as many people as possible can get access to these wealth insights as well. Do me a favor, share it with your friends. I'd appreciate it. Cheers.